Hey, Chris Liepe here with special guests Will Ramos from Lorna Shore and Elizabeth from the Charismatic Voice. So happy to have you both here. We are taking a break from shooting some awesome videos because I've been getting into Sleep Token lately, and that's one of your favorite bands.
The best band, arguably.
The best band, okay.
According to me.
And so I'd been getting requests for Chokehold, and I was like, well, you're here, and they're your favorite band. You show me Chokehold. So I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it.
No, I just saw my first Sleep Token video with Will, and so I wanted more immediately.
Yeah.
She's in.
So,
Yeah.
And soon you will be too.
And you recently did a cover of this song, which should be coming out in a few days from the time of us filming this, right?
Absolutely. This is literally one of my favorite Sleep Token songs, so I knew I had to cover it if I could.
Yeah,
I
so
did.
there is no better person for me to go through this song with than you, who's just done your own version of it.
I like to think so.
Oh.
We'll see.
And if you want more of what Will is about as a vocalist, you want to put that in your own voice, particularly with harsh vocals, click the link below and join the free warm-ups course.
Yeah, it's dope.
You'll learn how to warm up like Will and take care of your voice for doing all those crazy screams and growls.
So important.
My favorite Sleep Token song. If you can't tell by this point, this is the best Sleep Token song.
Okay. More intense than The Summoning?
I don't want to say it's more intense than The Summoning because that has a lot of stuff going on in it, but this is definitely more of a vibe for me.
Okay.
I like it. The intro just sounds super like Tool.
Uh-huh. Oh, Tool,
Whatever you
absolutely.
want to. Like, they bring a whole bunch of elements into this album.
Well, his voice reminds me of Maynard, like majorly. That lower, warm, sort of soothing sound before
Yes.
the lift. It's definitely a Maynard thing.
When we were made.
Okay, did you hear that? First of all, pause that for a second real quick. Okay, what I was talking about, sometimes this guy does this thing, and I notice he does this all the time in I guess in this song, and not so much in The Summoning, but in this one he holds out these notes, and then he puts out that last or whatever.
Okay.
He will accentuate those whatever we were
He's
talking.
juicing his
He's
enunciation.
juicing the enunciation, and in this one you can really hear it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to start with that because that's pretty much
Yeah.
a big portion of the song. I wanted to throw that in there. You'll hear it a lot.
Well, what I immediately noticed, and I noticed this in the other songs too, his exhales, his exits from notes, right? He has these...
Yeah. Yeah.
He lets himself down after almost every phrase, and it's just this wonderful connection to the emotion that he's feeling because you feel his voice and hear it at the same time. I listen to the way on the end of Made even.
When we were made.
Right?
Oh, okay. So what's happening there is he has an offset that he does before adding the final consonant. So meaning that the phonation actually stops, he has a little exhale, and then he adds a final consonant. And instead of made, would normally have a D, which is a voice consonant. But since he's already offset it, there's no more phonation happening. So it actually, instead of being a D, becomes a T.
Uh-huh.
The unvoiced pairing.
Right.
He does that a lot, and it is just.
It's cool.
I love
So
it so much.
The nuances, right? That's what makes the vocalist.
That is exactly what it is.
When we were made. It was no accident.
Uh-huh.
We were tangled up like branches in a flood.
So
Love it.
he uses more diphthongs than I think any vocalist. Made, flood. I mean, he's modifying those vowels within those words more frequently than most vocalists I listen to. It's part of his tone.
It is 100% part of his tone. I think it's incredible.
It's funny. It's not just modifying. It's more like he's so clear about each part of the diphthong, and that it's almost like he sung in Italian or something, where he defined a really clear vowel space, and he goes to that instead of having as much mush in between as most American speakers in particular have.
Articulate. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm held up like branches in a flood. I come as a blade.
Gotta love the slide. Come on. You can't not love it.
The slide. And then the transferring of the resonance, right? It's going up into his head voice there, and the articulation. Gotta hear that again.
It's a very smooth transition into head voice. I think it's incredible.
Oof.
Dude.
I'm held up like branches in a flood. I come as a blade. A sacred guardian. So you keep me sharp and test my worth in blood.
The word
Goosebumps.
The word sharp. Did you hear how
Sharp.
he moved that resonance back, and then sharp? Really interesting movement of that word.
He's a lot of singers. I feel like when they sing with they're from another country, and it's hard to tell sometimes, like if you could hear the accent.
Yeah.
And when they're singing, like I don't know if he does it intentionally, but I could hear there's certain things that he says, like
Because of the way he talks.
Because of the way he talks,
Sure.
that it comes out like that. And I don't know if that's just an accent thing or if that's just like the way that he wanted it to come out, but I love it.
I think he's really deliberate.
I think so too.
Yes.
And I say this partly because I've sung in lots of different accents in different languages, but in particular, like I had to sing a Violetta at English National Opera at one point in English, but not just in English, the Queen's English. And you wouldn't believe how much you get coached for specific little adjustments like that. It's incredibly specific.
Like instead of doing you'll do or something like that. You'll just change
rather
the
than like even just like a tiny bit of like a slight adjustment here, a tiny bit of tongue height. It's really like the of Queen's English is going to be a much higher. Anyhow, yes, it's
right. I think he's really deliberate too, and I think that is partly what makes vocalists like Vessel so interesting. Is that you can tell the care and consideration that goes into every phrase. There's nothing haphazard going on, and vocalists that are starting to get into it or starting to record their own things, they don't realize how meticulous you have permission to be, right? You can do whatever you want. You can spend as much time messing with your resonance, your placement, trying to get things exactly the way that you want to get them to sound and feel for what you're trying to communicate. This is why we like what Vessel does.
Me sharp and test my worth in blood. You got me in a chokehold. You got me in a chokehold.
Oh, I love that.
That is not where I thought the rhythm was going to go.
Oh, yeah.
no. I was feeling it with like a subdivision of 2 underneath, and then it came in with this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, it's a triplet. So you're that's crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
You got me in a chokehold. You got me in a
ambient. Yeah, that's really cool.
And the way he has those it reminds me a little bit, not the riff necessarily, but the way that those vocals sort of trickled in, it reminds me a little bit of Alice in Chains. That sort of stacky harmony back there, I don't know.
There's something haunting about it.
Yeah.
I feel that. It's so interesting to me how there's a certain lightness in the rhythm when it's first introduced. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that made so much space for the drop to be even huger.
Totally. The tempo is very strategic. Yeah, wow.
This is the next warrior class or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, nice.
No lasers on this one.
Okay.
Gotta love the piano in there too.
You dig.
I love piano.
Beneath the stormy seas, above the mountain peaks.
I talked about this on the summoning video about how his vibrato, it's a fast vibrato.
Yes.
But he shapes the notes straight and then lets his vibrato come in as he's shaping the note. It's super it's eerie. It's extra eerie sounding in that it's not a lot of singers will have more of a constant vibrato, or they only shape the note with the vibrato, but he'll shape it independently of the vibrato and then let the vibrato come in, which I find to be very, very layered in the way that he does that.
Yeah, I do hear essentially like approaching the pitch and then relaxing with vibrato. But it's interesting because a lot of times I think about vibrato as being a function that is to relax the larynx, right?
Sure.
But the way that he's doing it almost intensifies the sound, which that kind of boggles my mind a little bit. It's exciting.
I love how he just throws it in there, here and there.
Yeah.
And it you can, when it goes in, it almost makes it stand out that much more.
And it's not all that. I mean, it's a consistent vibrato once it's in, but you're right. We don't know him as one of the singers who's just always singing with one level of vibrato.
Exactly, yeah.
One of the things that was really cool earlier is I heard his vibrato shimmer in, it was much earlier. It was right after that really cool section where he went up and then flipped over. Right after that, another instrument did a similar vibrato that was echoing him.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to hear like a shimmer.
Yeah,
so you
cool.
can tell that I think that the vibrato amongst all the musicians is held in continuity and inspiring
Synced.
each other.
Yeah, that's neat.
Beneath the stormy seas, above the mountain peaks, it's all the same to me. It makes no difference.
Soul.
A
lot of soul.
My days unfold and the impossible. I've turned my walls to gold to bring you home again. So show me that which I cannot see.
Okay, we got to back it up.
Jeez
Yeah.
Louise.
There's so much going on from a cross genre. Like I mean, I hear Motown. I hear the way he's articulating those runs is just it's not in this genre. It doesn't belong totally, which it makes it all that much more impactful, I think.
Yes. And the whole album is a big, almost like mixture of so many different sounds, but it's not like it's just like a random, jumbo of whatever is in there. It's like everything is tastefully done in
Right.
a way where it all makes sense, and that's pretty cool.
And even that little articulation, saying that over, I think it was the word difference, and dividing it up into difference, and how he was able to work down that. I want to listen to it again, but he's able to work down that almost independently of the syllables. the notes moved more agilely than the word would suggest, which I thought was, yeah, let's listen to that again.
Beneath the stormy seas above the mountains.
Sliding.
It's all the same to me. It makes no difference. I've seen my days unfold.
It sounds right before different.
Yeah.
He also messes with the rhythm there. He actually syncopates it a little bit different. Like he took it not just within the built
How it's
triplets we
been
have
going the
underneath.
whole time. Yeah.
But one of the other things I think is amazing about this line, and I think it's partly why we're so in love with his voice, is it's so intense all of the time. It feels so present. And it is making me think how do you achieve that intensity? And one of the ways that I've trained with this, 'cause that's kind of an opera thing, right?
Sure.
Is to feel more subdivisions underneath. And so when you have a really slow song like this, you can't just kind of lay back on the back burner. Instead, if you think almost about refreshing the vowels, refreshing the sound with each of these fast subdivisions that are happening underneath, you can have that sort of intensity. And I think that might be coming off in the vibrato as well. But I heard that intensity in the other song we listened to too. I gotta wonder. We don't know anything about Vessel's background, but was he classically trained? Because I'm seeing all kinds of
Signs.
crossovers. The diction is not. It's not the kind of diction that you often get from contemporary training. This sounds
Right.
like classical diction to me. This sounds like classical intensity, but we're putting it very much into a contemporary genre.
Well, he's never been in a band prior to this. This is like his first band.
his first.
Oh, wow.
So I wouldn't even be surprised if he did come from some other world like that and just always been doing that. And now it's like, all right, here, try this out. And then
Yeah.
Well, the subdivision thing, how he subdivides difference, right? That's what you're talking about. Is he's adding a syllable to that word as because it's difference, difference.
Yeah, he's doing that with like some syncopation in there, but the subdivision is almost like it's more of an internal thing as you're singing a long line, having this idea almost like there's a mouse running, on
okay.
one of those one of the wheels.
Yeah.
That subdivision is going on internally to help a person essentially increase this inner energy
Got it.
to create these crazy long sustained lines that have so much intensity.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's not.
Done the impossible. I've turned my walls to gold to bring you home again. So show me that which I cannot see, even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep. Oh, and knowing act out of a holy duty to be
pause it real quick.
Yeah.
This is also, by the way, classic Sleep Token, where you could tell the song is getting progressively louder as it's getting onto this giant climactic ending, and you can tell that it's starting to build up right now, whether you're aware of it or not. But you know that something
it's
big is
physically
about to
getting
come.
louder.
You know something really big is about to come up in the next part.
And you were saying that you have experience with this and doing covers of Sleep Token because
Yes.
you noticed that those tracks were stacking up as well.
Exactly.
And becoming bigger and bigger as it goes on. That's
It becomes like a cone, literally.
really
Whether
interesting.
If all your vocals are exactly the same, it will still come out like a cone no matter what.
Interesting.
Which is absolutely
Yeah,
insane.
the actual track is getting louder, not just the arrangement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're also adding more elements into it in the background that also makes the track louder itself.
Sure.
But like, you don't even notice that. These are things you don't even notice. You're just listening to it as a listener.
Yeah.
wow.
act out of a holy duty to be constantly aware.
So that line, that chokehold, and you hear him sighing out of that, right? He's got this. I hear the subdivision thing you're talking about now differently than I did even before when listening to him, but chokehold, and having those exits and those entrances where he's sort of cracking into the note and then sighing out of it. There's so much going on there that is not just I'm hitting this note, right? It's not just about the note. It's about all the things going around it which make you do that.
It's like the intro into the note and the exit out of it at the same time.
Between the notes. He's so good at doing things between the actual notes you hear in the melody.
Yes, exactly. It's like there's this like inner fire that he's been continuing to build up all along.
Yeah.
I think that is incredible support, and that this sort of, again, that mouse or rat on the wheel, it's inside too. Like, it's not just thinking about it here, but it's down in the support system and creating this incredible stream of breath energy that is sustaining this incredible line.
Oh, so fun to listen to.
He's very good at breathing.
Oh, we got to get to
breathing.
Yeah, good at breathing.
Very good. Thank God.
I love that.
The little cracks at the end of those notes just make it for me. Right? That's an interesting harmonic choice, right? Listen to the...
And then he has a little head voice here and that. Love that.
Yeah.
You're mentioning about the harmony. I'm thinking about all the pitches that are being selected right now. Yeah, you've got this fourth, so it's essentially like it feels a little more expansive. It feels like there's more space between those notes.
Totally.
But then also down in the instrumentation, you have this like almost buzzing sound that's got a pitch that's working itself between half steps, and that's creating a ton of dissonance, and it's just kind of like floating back and forth.
Yeah.
And then you have this massive sound that's happening from other parts of the band at the same time. So you have a wall of sound that feels expansive, consonant, because the harmony that's happening is a perfect harmony considered, but it's still expansive. And then you also have this dissonance going at the same time. There's so many different layers in that are contributing to a massive sound.
Yeah. And the dissonance is a huge part of that. Huge part of it.
It started crying when it said, even if it hurts me.
I never even noticed. I've seen this music video so many times.
I wasn't even looking at the video. I gotta watch that.
I was like, wait a second. By the way, this figure totally makes me think of the Way of Kings, the Brandon Sanderson novel. There's this really crazy creature in it that it makes me think of. I don't know if it's
So not Portal.
Not Portal.
Okay.
But
not this one.
Anyhow, I really like the figures.
Wow. I don't know how I never noticed that. Little head voice. Insano for no reason.
That is just a diphthong. Like, that is only two vowels, main vowels. But the way that he so slowly transitioned between them, it gave us the flavor of the other vowels that could be found in between, not to mention the sustain and the lightness of it at first and the way he actually seemed to intensify it as it went on, which is harder to do. Anyhow, holy crap.
And it's a long, and it's also just a really long note. I mean,
It's a long
it's
night.
a really freaking long note.
And the way I feel that when I hear him do it is, of course, changing the vowel very slowly, but then I also feel him moving where that note is placed. Like it starts out, I want to listen to it again, but it starts out feeling like it's placed maybe more in the front, and then he's sort of moving it back in resonance. I'm not sure about that. I want to listen to it again. But I love it when I hear these notes transform, right? There's no consonants happening. It's a sustained note, and it's changing before our very ears. I love that kind of thing. I want to hear the resonance shift again, though, here. I'm got to start further
Bring
back.
it back.
Yeah.
Everybody's crying.
Yeah, I heard his... I mean, if we're really going to exaggerate it, but it's that kind of thing where he started out and it's very forward and belted, and then he brings it back almost a little bit more nasal, and it creates part of that harmonic transformation we're hearing. So interesting.
The breathing. I told you he's really good at breathing.
Of course, I got to hear that in context.
I told you he's good at breathing. I didn't lie. Very
I
good.
want to go back on that one more time.
Yeah.
Because I keep thinking about what the production chain is on his voice, right? There's a drive in it that is
Oh, totally.
here. And I was like, I know I've heard this drive somewhere. It reminds me of the drive on Muse.
Oh, yeah.
It just, the voice has like a similar, almost like a metallic sound that I think is from the Post.
And the way they've automated up the reverb at the end of that long-held note, and then again on the breath, which sounded like an inhale. I thought maybe it was initially an exhale breath, but it almost sounded like he got done with that long note and went, and then they carried it with the tail of the reverb. But I'm not sure. I want to hear that again, too.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I
just
don't
going.
know either.
Sound like an exhale to you?
I thought it was an exhale for sure.
Yeah, I was hearing it more like an exhale that time.
I don't know. It sounds
it?
like there's some kind of crazy harmony going on at the end of that.
I was
long
wondering
sing.
about that, too.
And I'm wondering, you know how like when you do like a overtone singing, it almost sounds like there's an overtone going on.
I think it's an overtone. I totally
not a
agree.
harmony, it's an
and
overtone?
I actually think that he's playing with, when you're talking about shifting the resonance, I think
Yeah.
that he's purposely playing with the overtone there.
That's I'm hearing something, and it sounds like it's almost like lining up slowly. And then it gets this part where it just lines up perfectly, and then it's over, kind of.
And I think it's about an octave, maybe it's 2 octaves above when it lines up perfectly.
But you do na 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 na. I wonder if that's in there vocally, or if that's just in the instrumentation.
I don't know. There was an upper harmony that was
They
there
have
when
a-
it first started, but
The
as
head voice in the
held-
beginning, and then it
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of disappears
Yeah.
halfway into it.
Yeah.
That one's gone. The head voice is gone. There's that
There it is.
right there.
Yep. So much harmonic richness.
I think this, if he's going from just like singing to overtone singing in one long singing note,
That breath.
that's insane.
That breath, I do hear it as an exhale, and I hear it as almost a compressed exhale.
Yes, definitely. It's like,
Yeah. Which allows it to be longer, more present, sort of the beginning of what you might end up extrapolating into a, right?
yeah, definitely.
But he's taming that at the end.
I'm excited to explore that actually more with you.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that you're going to show us so much about how many levels of compression there can be.
This is going to be interesting.
It is
to
going to
say
be
the least.
interesting. Well, if you'd like more of that,
Yes.
exploring breathing and funny sounds, you want to make sure you don't damage your voice in the process, click that link below and join the free warm-ups course that he and we have put together. That's all, right?
That's it.
Okay.
We did it.
Let's
It's amazing. Let's let it play out.
Well, yeah, that was the end.
Incredible. That was it.
Thank you guys for being here. That was
Of course.
neat.
Thank you for having us. I
Thanks
will
for introducing.
always listen to Sleep Token with everybody. So if you guys want to listen to Sleep, we're listening to Sleep Token.
Okay, well, maybe we'll take another break and do more of that. We'll see you for much more soon.
Will Ramos
Is here.
in the
I
studio.
can't laugh and beatbox at the same time.
Come on. You gotta add the laugh
hold it
into
together.
the beatbox mix.
Okay.
I am Will. Oh my god. All right, you know what? Maybe it's for the best.